Dewey, it's Lukey.
Hey, how are you?
How are you doing?
I'm great.
How was Ireland?
Ireland was, it was okay. Rainy, cold. It was okay.
Well, I checked out Kevin Lee, who you told me that you cornered. What was that experience like, and why are your fighters doing so well in all disciplines of martial arts?
It was another day at the office for us. We keep it simple when it's fight time. We train hard and we go perform our task when it's fight time. And I don't get caught up in the emotion head because that's how you get careless, and the moment gets too big for you. So basically it was another day at the office for us. We trained hard. We had a game plan. Kevin was wonderful in sticking to the game plan, and the fight resulted just like we. So, we're happy about that. The reason why my fighters are doing well is because I'm dedicated to the art of fighting, and my fighters are dedicated to the art of fighting. So we just train really hard. We talk to each other. We have a great relationship with each other. We're honest with each other. And most of the time, we come out on top just through the hard work and dedication that we put into our art.
So what I'm also getting at, from you is you build genuine relationships with people on top of teaching martial arts, boxing, mixed martial arts, whatever you do, and through your relationships with people, you get the best out of them.
Well, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. Remember, these guys have dreams of, becoming world champions, and I've already accomplished that dream, and I'm still accomplishing that dream every day. So they really like my work ethic and the way I motivate them in everyday training, and we just have a great relationship. We have fun with it, but we're very serious about it. We train very hard. We spar very hard. And when it's fight time, I simply keep repeating to them, do what we did in the gym. The crowd, the festivities, the hype, the publicity, the promotion has nothing to do with what we do every day of our lives, and that's train. I think a lot of trainers don't really talk about all the extra. They prepare their guys for a fight, and they don't talk to them about all the psychological stuff that goes into fighting. And I do with my guys. I've told them about all my experiences, good and bad. We talk about the fight. We talk about the festivities of the fight. We talk about the stresses of the fight. And my guys are very comfortable and honest with me, and I'm very comfortable and honest with them. And I guess it's a nice formula for success, because if there's anything in their minds, they can tell me. They don't worry about me judging them about being scared or being weak or anything like that. We definitely have genuine relationships. I care about them like they're family members, and it's not just about the money for me, and it's not even the fame for me. I just want to bring out the best in everyone I train, whether it be kickboxers, boxers, or mixed martial artists. So I've done all three, so I'm just putting back what I've received out of the pugilistic sports that I've been in.
So I've got to ask, you told me when we were in Lemoore, California, you've traveled the whole world learning all different types of disciplines of fighting. You got to give me a crazy story from some of your travels.
See, when I'm training, when I go places, there's nothing really crazy that goes on, because we just keep it simple and we're focused on what we have to do. But I got a few stories, like in China. I was in mainland China, a city called what was the city? Jesus Christ, I've been in so many cities in China. Luoyang, in a city called Luoyang. And me and all my fighters were up there training, and myself and one of my fighters, David Hayes, who's now in the strength and conditioning coach for Jessie Vargas, we got lost in one little small area in China, and we got surrounded by people, and it was almost a scary moment. We thought we were going to either get killed or have to fight like 1,000 people. They surrounded the cab and beating on the cab window. It was a pretty weird situation, but somehow we got out of there and we made it back to where the guys were, and we told the guys, don't ever fucking leave us again.
Wait. So I like where this story's going. So I'm gonna kind of get a little more details. So wait. So you're in. Everyone left you. You're just with you and your friend, one of your fighters, and then all of a sudden, how do you realize the cab is surrounded? Do you just look out the window and you're like, what the heck? There's a bunch of people around us.
Yeah. Well, we were trying to find, a cab, and we were standing around this one area, and we could not hail a cab. No one would help us. And finally, a cab, we jumped in front of the cab and stopped, blah, blah, blah. And all these people started coming around. And we jumped in the cab, and they, got in front of the cab, surrounded the cab, and would not let the cab go. And they started beating on the doors and the windows, and it got kind of scary. We're like, David, what's up, man? We're about to fight for our lives. The cab driver spoke no English. He only spoke Mandarin Chinese. All these people were screaming and talking and rocking the cab. And finally, I had money. I had Chinese money on me. I pulled out all this money. I said, go, go, go. You must go. I threw all this money in his lap, and he just hit the accelerator and started driving through the people, and it was crazy, man. I thought they were gonna flip the cab over. I don't know what they were doing, why they were doing it, but it was a crazy experience.
There's a TV show called Homeland, and it reminds me of an episode in Homeland where the CIA is in the Middle East and they surround the car and stuff. So that's the visual I'm getting right now.
Yeah, and one other story, I was in a city called Xicheng, China. It's right on the border of Tibet and all of those type of places. And my nephew and I were walking in the middle of the night, just wanted to get something to eat. There was a KFC that was open late, and a friend of mine now, I didn't know the guy at the time, a white guy from Australia. His name is Bailey O'Malley. He's a famous artist, Bailey O'Malley. He comes running around a corner, and there was a white van with the door open with guys with ski masks on, trying to kidnap him. And we actually saved him, because when the van saw us, they took off. And he's like, oh my God, thank goodness, man, you guys saved my life, and blah, blah, blah. He said these guys have been chasing him for about 3 or 4 blocks. And if it weren't for us, they would have caught him. But when they saw us, we were fighting in that city, so I guess they respected us, or I'm not sure if they were afraid of us or what, but they took off. Anyway, him and I have been friends ever since. His name is Bailey O'Malley. He's from Australia. So, we've had some weird situations a few times in mainland China. Other times, though, it's been great. We had no problem.
And you're reminding keep going. I'm loving these stories. I'm loving them.
Yeah, I was in Zagreb, Croatia once. My trainer, Master Nick Blumgren, and I, in the first few days we were there, they had some kind of big rally protest. This is 2002. They had some kind of protest throughout the town, and we had to be escorted by military guards for the first 3 days we were in Zagreb, Croatia, because they were afraid that we get attacked by skinheads or something. No issues, but everywhere we went, people stared at me and made me feel really out of place. But it ended up being a cool place, and there was no trouble, but it was just very weird the first few days there. When I was in Zagreb, Croatia, back in 2002. So, we've had some issues, but we always made it through, and things are all good.
Yeah, I was just going to share a story. My buddy just told me a story. He went over to China, and he said the cab driver got him for about $700. He kept having to give him money, and he was like, no, that's counterfeit. No, that's counterfeit. And he wouldn't let him out of the cab, and he got about $700 out of him driving from his hotel to the airport. So now I'm a little nervous to go to China. I can't lie.
Yeah, well, I've been going to China for about 10 years now, 3-4 times a year, spending 6-8 weeks there, all over mainland China, Nanning, Leshan, Chengdu, So many places. Zhengzhou, so many different cities. Of course, Beijing. So many cities, and I had no trouble. And other places were really warm and inviting and wonderful to me. And I even went to the Chinese-African trade agreement back in like 2010 when China opened up their borders to Africa. And blah blah blah. I was a guest at that big convention or whatever, and I had no trouble. So most of the time, I've only had like one issue in China. The other times were great, no troubles, all love for the people. And I even went to the Shaolin Temple and trained with the Shaolin monks. It was all love.
Talk about that. I want to know what do the Shaolin monks train like?
Man, that was my greatest trip ever. I went there with a team, some pretty famous American fighters. The female fighter, Tiffany Van Solis, she's a Muay Thai world champion, and she also fights Invicta. She was there. Kai Hollenbeck was with me, another famous Muay Thai and Glory kickboxer. Mike Maniquel, world champion Muay Thai fighter and Glory fighter as well. Who else went with me? Anthony Castrione fights for Lion Fights. Alexander Palmer, he's the head crew at Oceanside Blue City Muay Thai. I went with several people when we went to Shaolin Temple. We're in China having a big show, U.S. versus China in China. I was the team captain of that event. After the show, the Chinese government knew I'd named my daughter Shaolin Cooper, so they knew I wanted to go to the Shaolin Temple, so they funded me and my team a visit to the Shaolin Temple to train with the monks. So it was great, man. We were in Shenzhen, China, in the hills, and we trained at the Shaolin Temple. We had tea with the abbot monk of the temple. We talked about Zen Buddhism and the Shaolin way, and all of these, fantastic things, man. I'll give you these people's names so you can verify these stories. These are true stories, man. It was an incredible trip, and the train with the monks was incredible, man. These guys are like the highest level of martial arts, and they're very, very great experts at what they do, but they're a little different than us. They train every single day of their lives. They train, meditate, sleep, train, meditate, sleep, train, meditate, and they can do all these great things, punching hard, kicking, great acts of strength, all kinds of things, but they're not fighters. It's, against the Shaolin way to fight unless you're in the act of protecting the temple. So these guys got the fighting skills of some of the greatest fighters in the world, but they aren't fighters. They're nice guys. They live through a creed of mercy, and it was just incredible doing what they do, man. They do, they bear crawl for like 5 kilometers every day. I don't know if you ever bear crawled before, but bear crawling, man, you'll do a 400-meter lap of bear crawls, and it'll damn near kill you. These guys are doing 5 kilometers. Their weapons training class was second to none, like I've never seen before. They're all in small enclosed rooms, swinging staffs with barely enough distance not to hit each other, and no one got hit the entire time. Their hand-to-hand combat classes were guys doing stuff with each other, banging arms and kicking shins with each other, all this type of stuff. Really impressive. But the only class they gave the monks trouble after talking to the monks, interviewing them and all that, or the tumbling class they do. They tumble like gymnasts. So the tumbling class gave them all trouble, which was pretty strange to me because they said the weapons, the sparring, the forms classes they get used to. But every time you're flipping, you can never get totally used to it. You always get dizzy and stuff like that. So it was crazy, man. It was crazy, having that experience. You cannot imagine what being at the Shaolin Temple training with the monks are like unless you train with them, man. The few people that have went up there and really trained with the monks, it's an unbelievable life-changing experience for sure.
Well, I just like listening to hear your experience, so I'm trying to live vicariously through it. I gotta get slightly boring. I gotta go to the boxing stuff, you know. Before I get into the Pacquiao Vargas fight, I'm curious. I don't think that you saw the Ward fight versus Kovalev, but I'd be interested if you've seen that. Do you have a perspective?
Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah, I seen the fight. Yeah, I was in Ireland. I seen it online.
What did you think?
Well, you know, I'm a huge Andre Ward fan. I'm also a big Kovalev fan. I train a lot of Russian fighters, a lot of guys from Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Russia. So I have a lot of respect for the Russian fighters. In saying that, I wanted Ward to win, but my initial thoughts on the fight was that Kovalev would probably win either by knockout or a big time, decision. Anyway, after watching the fight, man, I gotta be real with you. I can't lie about what I felt. I thought Kovalev pulled the fight out 115-113 is what I thought. Kovalev took the early lead. It was a heck of a knockdown in the second round. Had he turned that knuckle over, he probably would have knocked Andre Ward out. If you notice, Andre Ward closed the distance, and the right hand hit Ward, but it wasn't a full extended right hand, and the knuckle hand turned over on the right hand. And it still hurt Ward very badly. Had he had a little more distance and turned the knuckle over, the fight probably would have been over in the second round. Anyway, after the knockdown, I felt like Kovalev controlled the early part of the fight, but then he let Ward start getting back into it. Ward did a lot of holding, a lot of single punching and grabbing and stuff like this, like a B-hop type of style. And I think the crowd, cheering when Ward would throw and land a punch had a huge effect on the judges because I had Ward getting back in the fight, but not winning the fight because Kovalev seemed to control the pace of the fight most of the time. So, in my honest opinion, if you were to say Ward truly won that fight, I felt like, Jessie Vargas should have got the decision over Pacquiao.
And that's,
you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was gonna say that to you because I was in the media room. I was there for that fight, and the way I watch. This might make you laugh, but especially you being in Thomas and Mack, I go in and then I look at the angles and then I go, I'd rather watch it on TV. So I'll watch 1 or 2 rounds and then it's better on TV to watch the fight. And I thought Jessie didn't get a lot of credit for using feints. And you can continue from there, but I just want to say that. So.
Yeah, so, and then don't get me wrong, I'm really happy Ward did get the win. I'm just being honest with you. I feel like Kovalev won most of the fight. I did feel like Kovalev kind of let off the gas a little bit, but I don't think it was enough to lose the fight because he was still coming forward a lot of the time, and he was still landing punches a lot of the time. And I felt like all the telling blows where a guy got stunned were thrown and landed by Kovalev, not by Ward. So if you compound the activity, the punches thrown, the punches landed, the power in those shots, the knockdown, and who seemed to be the stronger fighter, I would have to go with Kovalev with the edge. I give Ward a lot of credit for really gritting down and fighting for his championship. Fight hard for his championship like real champions do. I give him credit for that. So he did make some of those rounds very close to where maybe the crowd swayed the way the judges saw the complexion of the rounds, and he ended up getting the victory. I will say it was a close fight, but I had Kovalev slightly winning the fight. But I'm really happy for Ward. He proved that if you're a real champion, you will fight hard for your titles. He did that, and then it ended up proving him the better man by the way the judges decided it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a slightly different view of the fight. I thought Ward slightly edged it out, but I also like I think that if you have it within a point of the fight, if a draw or 1 point either way, I don't think that those are bad scores. I think it's one of those real close subjective fights.
Yeah, yeah. Remember, I didn't say I felt like he got robbed. I just felt like I thought he won the fight. But Ward did come back. He did have a few rallying moments. Um, and like you said, I watched the fight twice. I just felt like Kovalev won the fight, but I wasn't upset or really outraged that Ward received the fight. So basically, I probably felt the way you're feeling right now. I definitely knew it was close. I didn't like the way Kovalev finished the fight, but
that's what I was
saying
too. Like
just because you don't finish the fight strong and you lose like the last few rounds doesn't mean you lost the fight, But if I were Jackson in Kovalev's corner, I probably would have told him, yo, show me a little more urgency. Ward's trying to rally. Don't let him steal the complexion of the fight. You know what I mean? Don't let him get the momentum swinging on his side. I probably would have said that to Kovalev if I were in his corner. But again, I did think he squeezed it out, to get the decision of the fight.
Yeah, I just felt like Kovalev took too much off at the end, and I didn't see much adjustments being made. It was almost like he banked all those early rounds, and then it was just like, where'd you go?
Yeah, but he seemed like he was coming forward, trying to throw a jab, trying to land the right hand, and Ward definitely had some change ups and some adjustments that he made. I just wasn't seeing enough of him coming forward and him putting the pressure on and him changing the fight, in my mind. But again, it was very subjective. It was very close, and for some reason, he got the call. Whether it's fate, whether it's his belief in God and people like him for that, whether the crowd affected the judges slightly, or whether the judges were really honestly feeling like he pulled it out. He got the win, so I'm definitely not hating on him. I'm happy he did. All my people won money when they bet on the fight, so I'm happy for all my family. But it's just something in my chest. I'm just being honest with you. I thought Kovalev pulled it out. But I'm not upset or outraged about the decision.
Yeah, well, that's why I like talking with you. You're very honest. Now let's be honest about the Vargas-Pacquiao fight. From the scorecards to just the way people talked about the fight leading up to it and afterwards, how did you feel being Jesse's trainer about the whole kind of experience and the fight in general?
Well, again, I'm a philosophical dude. I keep it simple, stupid. As far as the build-up to the fight, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was only focusing on having my fighter prepared to win. And of course, anytime you fight, Lukey, anytime you're preparing for a fight, you have to be positive. You have to be confident in your abilities. It's not always about the other guy. Because if you make it about the other guy too much, it makes you apprehensive. It makes you respect the game too goddamn much. So I was just focusing on what Jesse needed to do, what we needed to do as a team to be successful. So I wasn't worried about Pacquiao or his accomplishments or anything. We knew we had speed coming our way. We knew we had a certain awkward southpaw stance coming our way. And we knew we had a guy with punching power in his left hand coming our way. We got the best sparring partners we could, and we had great sparring, and we had a great camp. As far as the real fight, again, I felt like the crowd participation probably affected the judges a bit. In that fight, I felt the knockdown was a 3-point swing and ended up being our demise in the fight because I felt like we won the first round. Second round, the knockdown happened at 23 seconds, and that was one of our best rounds. We're definitely winning that round, controlling Pacquiao the second round more so than most of the other rounds that we've won. So had we had that knockdown not happen, that I feel like that was 2-0 for us. And we had a great round where confidence and the game plan was being followed perfectly. You know, but things happen in a fight. And you know, it was one of those fights where it was very close. Both guys were landing their counter punches. Both guys were calculated in their attacks because neither guy could get too careless. Because if you got too careless in that fight, you're definitely going to get caught with something, you know, powerful. So, you know, it became one of those type of close chess match type boxing fights. And the judges said the way they seen it, you know. One thing about me, regardless how I feel about the fight, if I felt that we won or it was close or we did not, I would never try to take credit from someone who had a successful night. So they got the call. You know, congratulations to Manny, congratulations to Freddie and his entire team. The judges just didn't see it our way. However, I definitely have dissatisfaction for the way the fight was scored because I watched the fight 30 times, and the fight was much closer than what some of the judges had it, and so I questioned the way it was scored.
What were some of the things that you looked at on tape that you saw Jessie doing really well?
Are you talking about in the Pacquiao fight?
Yeah, in the Pacquiao fight, when you watch it back. Well, you know, Jesse was timing the right hand pretty well. He was using his jab at times pretty well. You know, Pacquiao did a lot of things that he hasn't done in most of his fights. He was waiting, he was feinting, he wasn't being as aggressive and as assertive as we expected. Jesse hit the body well. And he was patient. You know, I wanted Jesse, you know, to be sharp and be patient, not get too, you know, too crazy in his own head or too careless in his own head. So, you know, Jesse did a lot of things well. He took Pacquiao's power very well. When Pacquiao did land and start trying to throw flourish, his defense was really good. He didn't get hit with second and third punches like a lot of people. And he just showed his level of experience, his level of toughness, and his level of fight intelligence also. So he did a lot of things well, man. The fight was a close fight. It was just a difficult fight with the early knockdown, which, by the way, the knockdown, Jesse had stepped on Pacquiao's foot, and he was moving his foot off of Pacquiao when Pacquiao hit him. That's why he went down. It wasn't like the shot was a real knockdown type of punch. It was more an off the balance type thing when he went down. If you watch that fight on the slow-mo, it clearly shows him on one foot when he got hit, and he kind of tripped and fell down. That's why he went down. It wasn't like a buckling of the knees or a shot that hurt him. So it was a balance.
It was just a few. Yeah, it was a balance thing and a few small errors that made the fight closer than what we wanted it to be also. So, but overall, man, you know, he's like an iconic fighter. Many people thought the fight was going to be like a Chris Algieri Margarito type of fight where Pacquiao just goes there and swarms and runs through Jesse and make it seem like he's not the same caliber as Pacquiao. And most people will agree the fight was way tougher on Pacquiao than what they all thought, and that Jesse fought way stronger, way better than what they thought. So, you know, Jesse showed that he belongs on the highest level of boxing, and we'll get that championship back real soon.
What I was impressed with Jesse was the way he was feigning Pacquiao to make him stay at distance. I felt like Pacquiao couldn't tell when the jab was coming as opposed to a feint at times early in the fight.
Yeah. I mean that was definitely part of the game plan, change the rhythm on the jab, use the jab frequently, and feint him, make him jump in like he normally does so we can time that right hand left hook on him. But Pacquiao was waiting a lot more than what we're used to seeing him. Actually, he waited more in our fight than what he did against Mayweather Jr. He threw less punches total than he did in the Mayweather fight. And he didn't have an injury show. So that proves that it wasn't an easy exhibition of fighting for Pacquiao either. He had to fight and had to put his cerebral thinking cap on too as he fought. So, Jessie showed that, he's a legitimate world champion and he's a legitimate, top welterweight, and he'll be back there for sure. Otherwise, Pacquiao would have threw punches and attacked and got 4, 5, 6 knockdowns and looked like the man. Pacquiao wasn't sure he won the fight when they went to the scorecards either. He was wondering. And a lot of people were. It was that thing where it's subjective, and it was scored the way they scored it. But just keep in mind, Jessie threw more punches. He landed more punches. People say, he seemed to be a little more aggressive. He threw more combinations. Well, if you look at the Kovalev-Ward fight, Kovalev came forward. He threw more punches. He was aggressive. Ward went backwards a lot of the times, threw less punches, and still won. So from week to week, we don't know how that scored in the fight. We kept the distance. We landed some good hard shots on Pacquiao. We threw more punches. We landed more punches. Pacquiao didn't just control the distance like he wanted, and he got the call by a landslide on one judge's scorecard, and we thought that was ridiculous. And most people agree that, no, that wasn't the right scoring. But then the Ward fight, they scored it the total opposite way. So it's just weird. I'm not some conspiracy theorist or anything like that. That's just what happened. We have to accept our realities, and we have to ingest those realities, digest those realities, and get stronger for them, or get stronger from them. And that's what we've done. We've accepted the Pacquiao fight, the decision of the Pacquiao fight. We ingested it, we swallowed it, and we digested it. We spit it out now, and we learned great experience from it. We're more confident, and we have more belief in our team, in ourselves. Me as a trainer, Jessie as a fighter, his conditioning coach as a conditioning coach, and we're going to get better from this. You hear it all the time, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. In our case, us not getting a victory will make us stronger and hungrier for our next victory. So we're going to keep everything positive. We lived through the great Pacquiao Vargas event, and now we gain so much wisdom, knowledge, understanding from it that it's going to make us a better fighter either way. So, we're in a good place mentally and psychologically from that fight.
Before I let you go, you got anything coming up before the end of the year? Any fights going on for you?
Yeah, we got a few. My fighter War, Sanjar Rachmanov from Mayweather Promotions, TNT fighter. He'll be fighting in December. And my young talented boxer, Devin, the Dream Haney, will be fighting again in December. Boxing. He's 11-0 right now. He just turned 18 years old a few days ago. He's 11-0 with 7 KOs. He'll be fighting. So, we're pretty excited about that. And so I got 2 more undefeated boxers fighting for 40 years out. And we're going to keep that winning spirit alive and stay happy. Glaucoma striking systems. I'm keeping it humble. I'm training in the gym. I'm keeping my guys sharp and hungry. And every endeavor, we're going to do our best to be victorious and have a sensational outing.
Well, I got to ask you about Devin Haney because he's gotten a lot of attention really early on. I didn't know Devin Haney was with you now. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, Devin Haney's been with me. Troy Sr. and I are partners with him. Devin Haney's been with me since his first fight. online, you'll see a lot of times I'm not at the fights because I have other guys fighting. Twice he's fought when Kevin Lee was fighting. He fought when I was getting Jessie ready for the Saddam Ali fight to win the WBO Welterweight World Championship. But his last two fights, I was in his corner, and his CBS TV fight, it was Floyd Mayweather and I both in his corner. Yeah, he's one of my guys too. You know what I mean? He'll tell you that, and yeah, we have a nice agreement worked out between him, Floyd Senior, and I. So yeah, he's definitely one of my guys, and he's representing the Black Open striking system as well. Where do you think all those power shots to the body came from?
Well, that...
So yeah, he's super talented. Oh, one thing I want to mention, a lot of people didn't realize, my fighter Amir Abdallah, WKA World Champion Kickboxer, we fought a week after the Vargas Pacquiao fight, and he retained and had his first defense of his WKA World title. So I want to send a big shout out to Amir Abdallah on our first world title defense on November 12th in Lockport, West New York. So, I'm doing it in all realms, man. We had the big Pacquiao Vargas fight November 5th. I had Amir Abdallah November 12th, Kickboxing World Championship. And then we had the UFC November 19th in Ireland, Belfast, Ireland. So we had some successful outings in those fights. And also my fighter Jimmy Spacuzza fought for TKO Productions in Montreal, Canada, November 4th. So all my guys are fighting, man. They're all been successful. They're all getting better, and we're going to keep it humble and keep training hard.
Yeah, my buddy told me, put in a really good word for you before I'd even met you, Xavier Zigny. He's a big kickboxer, a heavyweight kickboxer.
Oh, yeah, of course. I know, man, me and Xavier are good friends. He's a hell of a glory fighter. And I heard he's making his way into boxing more recently. So, I wish him all the best also.
Well, that's
his
my...
coach, Dan Black. Big ups to Dan. You know what I mean? Xavier's coach, Dan Black. Big ups to, that Northern California crew. I love those guys.
Matt Baker is another really talented kickboxer that they got. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Well, that's...
For sure. So, yeah, those are all my guys, man. Number respect to load of those guys.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. When I go to the gym to lift weights, Xavier's my gym buddy. So
yeah.
when we go to lift weights, we often don't lift weights. People want to take photos with him because he's 6'9". So random people will be like, "Oh, let me get a thing for my Instagram." It's like, come on, guys, we're trying to lift dumbbells here.
Yeah, it's gonna get a lot worse the more he keeps winning.
No, it's true, man. Well, I'm really glad. Not just am I glad that I talked with you and that you're such a great person, but you're just what I really appreciate about you, and you're gonna help model this for my own life when I get more successful. Is just how humble you are with all the stuff you've done. And for me, it's really inspirational to talk to someone like you who's so successful, but you're just so grounded in what you do and being a person.
Yeah, and it's I'm not trying to preach here, but it all needs to be equivalent. In other words, if you're talented at something, if it's truly in your heart, there's no reason to act like it's some extra magical potion that you got no one else has. You're talented because you worked hard at what you do. God gave you certain attributes, and you improve those attributes. And there's nothing to have an ego about or nothing to be cocky about, because we all have special talents. It's just sad that some people don't acknowledge or don't find out what their talents are and exercise those to make them greater. I've been fighting since I was a kid. I've been in martial arts since I was 10 years old. That's 32 years straight. So, I'm just a guy who I'm blessed to be here. I'm building my legacy every day, and I want people to know that you can do it also. As long as you're willing to put in those hard hours, the blood, sweat, and tears, pound the pavement, and don't make up excuses for failures. Just improve those failures and make those failures successes. That's all you got to do, man. Too many people have one bad moment and they give up and they break. Dude, as a kickboxer, my record's 49-15. I had 15 bad moments. but I didn't give a break. I kept fighting. You know what I mean? I won world championships. I got inducted in the Masters of Martial Arts Hall of Fame in 2008 because of that hard body of work that I put forward. And every day I'm humbled and I'm thankful that I can still do this and that the young listen to me and trust in me to help them build their legends. You know, so it's a humbling experience when you can do that. Anyone that's cocky or, excuse my language, but a dickhead about it really hasn't even mastered themselves yet. Because once you master yourself, you realize that it's about being good, it's about being positive, and it's about how many people you can inspire to do the same thing or greater than what you've done is what counts. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. I want all my fighters to be better than me. I want them all to achieve the greatest they can achieve. And all I want for them to say at the end of it all is, hey, Dewey Black Cobra Cooper, thank you for taking me on this journey and helping me become a greater self. And that's the biggest, compliment of all. It ain't the money that we're fortunate to make. It's the person knowing that you help them become a greater self. And that's what I do it for. And I really mean that, man. I'm not just trying to talk slogans and Buddhist type sounding stuff to you. I'm pouring out my heart to you about how I feel about this whole sport, about how I feel about this martial arts fighting that we do.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'm definitely gonna shoot you texts every now and then to say, hey, would you like to come on, or what are your thoughts on this? Because I just think you're a cool dude.
Thank you, brother. Anytime, man. Remember, don't forget, if you want to be successful, all you got to do is practice Dewey's D's. Dedication, determination, discipline, devotion, desire, and drive. Put those D's in whatever you want to do, and you will be successful, for goddamn sure.
Well, thank you, Dewey, and it was a pleasure.
Right on, brother. Thanks a lot.